Hello everyone and welcome back to a new fight study. By the looks of it, you already know which fight we're doing. We are doing Oscar De La Hoya versus Arturo Gatti. Now the reason I'm doing this fight is because this is Oscar De La Hoya training under Floyd Mayweather Sr. And if you've followed me for a while, especially on Instagram, you know how much I've talked about Oscar De La Hoya's lead hand or his left hand. But today we're going to talk about his right hand because under Mayweather Sr., we saw big improvements in his right hand. His defense, I wouldn't say his defense got better, but he was using a different style almost. Yeah. So before this, De La Hoya was basically you could call him a one-handed fighter with which was his left hand. That's the case of many fighters that have a great left hand and not so much of a right hand. Uh, just gonna let this roll a little bit more. Under Floyd Sr., De La Hoya added that right hand. He believed in himself a little bit more with that right hand. You could see him drop his hands, and I was making a joke yesterday to myself. I said, this is the De La Hoya shoulder roll before the Ryan Garcia shoulder roll. So it's kind of a joke, if you get what I mean. We're gonna let this run a little bit, and then I'll show you guys. Now, usually, sorry, I'll pause right here. Now, if you watch my breakdowns about Oscar De La Hoya on my Instagram, you know how I talk about his hand positioning. He always had his both hands up, his left hand half extended, and he was always using that left hand hooks, jabs, especially jabs, uppercuts, everything with that left hand. Very rarely did he throw that right hand. In this fight, you'll see him keeping that chin down, his hands down. He's a little bit more relaxed. He's rolling with the punches. He's going under punches. And yeah, this fight comes after he took some time off after the Mosley and Trinidad fight, so it's kind of a reinvention for him, I guess. Sorry. Arturo Gatti is always down for a fight, so this makes for a great fight. Now that's something else that we'll see Oscar throw a lot in this fight is that right hook to the body. Now this is another Mayweather staple. When I say Mayweather today, I'm not referring to Floyd Mayweather Jr. I'm referring to his father, Senior, the trainer. You'll see Oscar throw a lot of this right hand to the body, followed by a left hook either to the body or upstairs. There we saw him throw another right hand to the head. Nice jab to the stomach. Keeping that jab working. And we're not only going to talk about his right hand. This was a left hook that caught my eye, of course, from Arturo Gatti, who had a great left hook. Oscar De La Hoya was just the bigger man in this fight. Boom, that was a good left hook. But I'm going to talk about Oscar's defense right there. We'll see him parry a lot. Now, this isn't something that Floyd taught him. Oscar's been parrying and catching jabs for all his career. But we're going to talk a little bit more of his shoulder roll. But here he catches that jab, pops. That's a classic De La Hoya move. Catch him coming in with the jab. Now he is a converted orthodox fighter, so he's naturally southpaw, so his left hand does pack a lot of power, Oscar De La Hoya. I think that's the same with Barrera, Marco Antonio Barrera. There's a lot of fighters like that throughout the years that keep their strong hand in front. We see a lot of side-to-side kind of shoulder. Now, I like this clip for some reason. I like this part of the fight while I was watching it. I like how Oscar keeps his eyes open and finds that hook to the body and head, even though throughout, like, they're exchanging punches. But this is something that pros do. They're good at keeping their eyes open, even if they're getting hit and swung at. You'll see him do it right here. See, look, boom, boom. He still has the ability to find that punch with everything going on. This is something that takes years and years and years of practice to be able to keep your eyes open while you're swinging and your opponent is swinging, and to keep your eyes open for the openings and the opportunity. They're missing a couple, but watch Oscar's eyes right here. He sees that. Bang, bang. Okay. His eyes are open the whole time. Now watch what he does when he's done. He finally blinks. Okay, we hear this, or you can see this with F1 drivers. They won't blink on turns or something. They'll kind of time their blinks. That's kind of the same thing with boxing. You can't just blink, especially when you're going back and forth with a guy like Gatti. You got to keep your eyes wide open. But when you step out and the exchange is done, now you can blink and refocus. So that's the type of focus you need to have when you are exchanging punches. Nice jab. I like how he's jabbing the body. Even though he's the bigger guy, he's not forgetting about jabbing the body. Right here, he blocked that hook twice. And this is what I was saying in the defense lesson that I've done, is most of the time your opponent's going to throw a jab, and most of the time you're going to throw a jab. Okay, so you should have your backhand in front of your face to be able to catch the jab. And every now and then when the hook does come, it's very easy to kind of put it on the side of your head, that right hand, and intercept that left hook. I like how Oscar throws that left hook with him. He's going to do it again as Gatti throws his own left hook. Boom, right after, I should say. And then put that hand back in front of the face and get that jab. This is going to be a good thing right here. It was the uppercut that did that, if you watch this fight in the replay. Now I want to talk a little bit. Where were we? Okay, here. Okay. I made a video about this on Instagram, about combinations and how to set up the combination. I said the jab is the foundation of the combination. The jab is the icebreaker. The combination is the conversation. Okay, so before you could go and just talk to someone, by talking I mean throwing a combination, you first got to introduce yourself. You first got to say hi or whatever, and that's what the jab does. It lets you say hi to your to your opponent, and then you could throw the combinations. If you just go up to someone in the street and just start having a conversation without saying hi, they'll move away because they'll think you're weird. So in boxing, it's the same thing, except think for punches. If you just go at someone with a combination, they're going to see it coming, they're going to move out the way, or they're going to counter you. You got to introduce yourself with the jab, get closer to them with the jab, time them with the jab. Once they're thinking about your jab, now you could add the talking after. So we see Oscar right here, he's going to go jab, jab. Now this is my favorite jab of this whole thing. Here he's going to get a sick jab right. Where is it? No, he steps back first. Yeah, moves his head. Boom. And you see how he hid his jab? This is another thing, is he's hiding his jab behind his shoulder movement. This is something I said about Morales. Eric Morales, he did this but for the right hand. He would move his head and shoulders left, right, and then when he'd move left one more time, he would pop out that right hand. So you don't know when the right hand was coming, even though you knew it was coming. So here Oscar steps back. See, he's on the right foot now, goes to the left side, and then the jab comes out of that. Very unexpected. See how he's moving his shoulders? First he goes down to the right, to the left, right? And then he's going to come up with that jab. Now before he throws his combination, he's going to get another feint in. Feint right there, he feinted a hook. Gatti closes up. Now he can go for the combination. You see how he introduced himself? He feinted, and then he got in and started throwing his combination. There's that right hand. Now it's going to be a left uppercut right here. Boom. Bang. That's the one that did it. He catches him with the left hook at the end, but the left uppercut's what did it. Of course, Gotti's going to get up. There's no question about that. Now he has him dazed, so he could go with the combinations right away. I would have still liked a couple jabs before that combination, or one jab before that combo. And I wrote on Instagram, this fight shows how great of a trainer this guy is. because Oscar De La Hoya at this point of his career, I think he had 23 fights going into this fight. He's an Olympic champion. He's been fighting his whole life. For Mayweather Sr. to be able to make him believe in his right hand, make him try new things, try a new defense in a big fight, in his comeback fight against a guy like Arturo Gatti, that's not easy to do from Floyd. Because in the gym, the boxer might do everything that you're telling him to do, but when it comes down to the fight, a lot of boxers, or I'd say 99%, resort to what they've done their whole life. They just can't help it. If you've been, even if you train for 4 months with a new trainer, you've been training the way you did it 20, 25 years before that. So it's a big, it's not easy to kind of actually do it in a fight. It's easy to do it in the gym, but not in the fight. So the fact that Oscar fought like this in the fight shows how much he trusted Floyd Sr. There's an uppercut. And how much Floyd Sr. actually helped him believe in himself. And I don't think Floyd Sr. gets the credit he does as a coach, maybe because Floyd's his son, and most people think that he only taught Floyd. But if you see his work with Oscar, he improved him a lot. There's those jabs from Oscar. See, he's rolling under punches, moving his head. That was a nice jab hook right there. If you watch my studies of Gatti versus Mickey Ward, you'll see what I talked about Gatti, how he hooks off the jab very well against Mickey Ward. Here we see De La Hoya do it. So he goes, bang, whip it around, bang. There you go. That's a Arturo Gatti move also. Now Arturo Gatti, he did make Oscar miss in this fight. Of course, Gatti doesn't get the defensive credit that he should get because he's been in so many wars, but when he did want to move his head, he made a lot of guys miss. He just didn't focus on boxing. He wanted to fight more. That was a nice little jab from Oscar in close range. Bang, right on the eye. And there's the defense I was talking about. So let's see what he does. He thought a jab was coming. That right uppercut kind of landed, maybe missed. Goes under the hook. He's going to trip right here. I don't think it was a punch that did that. But he misses. Lean away. Ooh. Not a knockdown. I think it was more a tangle up in the feet. Nice jab to the body. Nice work, that jab. Nice jab again. Nice jab. Nice jab to the body. See how he builds that combo off the jab again? Step back. And I almost forgot about this point. Now the ref is going to call out Oscar on the use of his shoulder, but this is another Mayweather defense type thing, is stepping in with your shoulder, especially when you're about this range. So usually what Oscar did before this fight, usually he would step back and let a guy walk in, and he would catch him with the jab and then push them back. But what I like, another improvement in this fight, is how Oscar actually used his lead shoulder. So he would come in behind his lead shoulder right there and take away the space from Arturo Gatti. This is, if you watch Mayweather Jr. fight, you've seen him do this a million times. But Oscar added that to his repertoire also, his arsenal. See that head movement? I've never seen Oscar move his head like this. Oscar, before this fight, he was a more stand-up fighter. Very good defense, though. He's his eyes were wide open. Very good footwork. His lead hand really saved him a lot of times. He would stick it out. He would jab. He would hook. He would catch guys moving in. He's really good at that. But we've never seen him drop his hands and move his head like he's doing here. And then come in with the left uppercut. Another jab to the body. Eyes wide open. Catching, moving. He looks like he has a lot more rhythm in this fight. See, he's doing the shoulder roll right here. Hiding behind that left shoulder. And keeping that right hand across his face, although it could have been a little bit more tighter. So this right hand is usually like right about here, not here. Other than that, pretty well, pretty good. And that's what kind of Oscar used to do back, or not back in the day, but before this fight. He would step back, but he would have an extended guard instead of a shoulder roll guard. He would have his left hand out here, his right hand out here, but almost in the same position. But from here, let's see how he does it. So boom. See, he steps back, he brings the opponent in, and then he pounces in with his jabs. Bang, bang. That's vintage Oscar De La Hoya. And that's what I like a lot about him, how he fought moving backwards and timed the steps of his opponents. There's that combination I talked about, the right hook to the body. That was a Mayweather staple. Now, if you watch this fight with the commentary, when Oscar De La Hoya lands this right hand, George Foreman yells, "Woo!" a right hand. Like he stunned that De La Hoya threw a right hand. That's how much he didn't throw his right hand. And you could see after he lands his right hand in this fight, sometimes he'll just like not believe, like he's not even believing that he actually landed the right hand, and he kind of just stands in front of Gatti for a second. So he's moving his head, shoulder roll. This step, see a little bit more rhythm, a little bit more sauce on his movement. He does an L step somewhere, I think there. See. A little bit. He's feeling himself a little bit more. Hands down on his thighs. See, this has Mayweather written all over it. So he goes here. Move his shoulder a little bit. Catch the jab or parry it. Catch the right hand. When have you seen Oscar do this? Block the hook. Step in with the shoulder. Push him off. And I think that was a great adjustment from Oscar for especially this fight, because how many Gatti is in close fighter, mid-range in close fighter, and this actually helped Oscar a lot. See that head movement, parrying, nice little jab, catch him with that hook again, uppercut. When have you seen Oscar? I've never seen Oscar fight like this. He's a lot more systematic and robotic in his defense. Like I said, his defense was good, but he wasn't like saucy like this. There's that combo again. There's that right hand again. He waited for too long there, got caught with the jab. Moving his head. Look at that. He almost looks black. Sorry, that was so racist. But that was racist. But you don't see Mexican fighters fight like that. Usually it's they're not like that. That's how black fighters fight. And because he's training under Floyd Sr., that's why he's fighting this way. It's kind of a black, I don't know, each ethnicity sounds really racist, but each ethnicity has their own way of doing things. Like Russian fighters or European fighters, they don't like mixing it up on the inside. They're very clean. By clean, I mean they don't like getting dirty, so they like to throw long punches and keep their distance from their opponent. They don't like getting in close. Mexican fighters, they're not really with the head movement that much. They'll use it, but they only use their head movement to get in close, and they only like fighting in close. Old school Mexican fighters, they could do both, but most Mexican fighters, they're just rushing in. Black fighters, they can do the best of everything. They could fight on the outside. They could get dirty on the inside. They could fight mid-range, and that's why I think they're usually always the best in boxing, because they're all-arounders. De La Hoya, he was more of a mid-range, long-range fighter. He did get on the inside sometimes, but not really. But now you could see the influence of Floyd Sr. on him, how he's comfortable sitting there and just moving his head. Now this is here, you could see him using that shoulder bump. Boom. The ref gets kind of mad at him. He's like, stop doing that. I'm going to take a point away. But you could definitely see the influence of Floyd Sr. on him. Boom. Now you got to give credit. That was a nice fake right hand jab by Gatti. You got to give credit to Oscar De La Hoya for following with the game plan, for not just going back to his old muscle memory and believing in what Floyd taught him. So it kind of works both ways. Sometimes the coach is really good and he's telling you the right things, but the fighter just resorts to the old way they're fighting. But you need a good coach that could build the belief. I don't know why this guy's wearing sandals. And you need a fighter that's going to believe the coach. So, yeah. I really would have liked to see him fight Floyd Jr., Oscar De La Hoya, if Sr. was still in his corner. I think that would have been made the fighter that much fight that much better. But of course, their family, Floyd Sr. couldn't do that. It's kind of a low move. Nice hook right there. Caught that hook, caught that right hand on the was it the right glove? No, it kind of landed almost. It just Arturo Gatti missed that one. Nice jabs right there. That's vintage De La Hoya. But see how his hands are way closer to him? He never really stood like that before. His left hand was always halfway out, ready to pop. Nice. That was a sneaky jab. Now, I've talked about this jab. I think the body jab, but from this position where the left glove is down here. Now, the reason this jab works so good on sneaking its way in there is because the opponent can't really see it. Look where he's watching, Arturo Gatti. They're watching up here, or he might be looking here. But this hand is so low that you could just pop it in and it's unnoticeable. See that? Now you don't really throw like Oscar kind of moved his weight to the left. It's usually like this. So when Arturo Gatti would step in with the jab in this position, De La Hoya could just kind of pop that left hand in, kind of sneak it in, tuck it in. But here he throws it from this side, but still pretty low. Kind of the same idea. Boom, just a little bit different. His weight's on the left side of his feet, not on the right side. You got Gatti trying new stuff, moving his hands, feinting, but Oscar is very good at keeping his eyes open and watching you and waiting for the right moment to react. There's that right hand again. There's that right hand again. Now, if you watch Floyd Jr. versus Gatti, you could see him throw that exact combo. Kind of not an overhand right, but a right to the side of the head, and then the left uppercut, right hand, left uppercut. Catching that jab. Rolling under. I don't know. This looks a little bit awkward. Oscar doesn't look very, very polished in the not the cross guard, in the Philly shell. I mean, it's working for him, but it just doesn't look like he's very comfortable with it. It still looks like he's trying to remember how to do it as he's doing it. I'm not saying that he's doing it bad or anything, but it just looks like he's still thinking about it, basically. It's not second nature to him yet. So he steps in with that shoulder again. Boom. Classic Mayweather move. Push off. Mayweather uses the elbow and the shoulder. Nice jab right there. Nice jab, jab. Move back, move your head. That jab is, although he threw a lot of right hands in this fight, De La Hoya, that left jab is the left jab. The jab is what's doing the damage to Arturo Gatti's right eye. Like that. Nice defense. He caught that hook. Nice work. Nice hook right there, lead. Moving his head, come in with the hook again. I think Gatti might have landed some punches there. Nice uppercut. Uppercut and bump. Nice work. Oh, that just grazed him. Push up. Push with that shoulder. Stop doing that, Oscar. That's what the ref was telling him about the shoulder bump. I think it's about his eye. Yeah. This is a really good ref, Jay Needy, I think, or Jay Natty. I forgot how to say his last name. I think his first name is Jake. There's that right hand from Mr. Oscar De La Hoya. Nice left hooks. Boom, right hand. Nice left hand to the body, though. I liked what Gotti threw right there. The left uppercut to the body. Complete domination thrown. Almost same punches thrown. 65 and 65. That's 130. So he literally doubled what Gotti landed, and he threw one punch more. Or no, not one punch more. Sorry. 23 punches more, and he doubled what Gotti landed. Sorry guys, had to crack me knuckles. See, he still looks a little bit tight with that shoulder roll. Even though it's working for him, he still looks like he's tight with it. It's not completely natural yet. And of course that's gonna happen. There he kind of made it obvious. Now because this is new to him, he doesn't know how to hide the leading in with the shoulder yet. When you lead in with the shoulder, you don't want to step into your opponent. Well, you do want to step into your opponent, but you don't step into your opponent when they're standing still. You use the shoulder, you kind of just point it at your opponent and do a little step in as your opponent moves into you. So that way it doesn't look like you're the one that's basically moving in with your shoulder. You hide it better when the opponent is moving in, and you just kind of tuck behind that shoulder and aim it at them and do a little bit of a step. Then it kind of hides it better. Let's see what Oscar does here. See, like that doesn't look good to the referee. So when you lead in with your shoulder from this position, like right here, you're too far. You need your opponent to kind of rush into you or step in aggressively, and then you kind of just dip down, aim that shoulder at them, and step into them. But they're doing all the work by using their momentum to move in. That's what's causing the damage, because they're moving into your left shoulder. Basically, you're just aiming it at them. But when you're too far and you dip down and step in with that shoulder, it's very obvious to the referee what you're doing. So that's why I don't want to do it like that. You kind of want to hide it a little bit more. See here? That doesn't look good. See that he could have done that a lot better. And yeah, he's just getting used to this style. See, he's telling him, stop doing that. I'm going to take a point away. Nice left hook by Gotti, though. Oscar De La Hoya just had a big head, so like even though you catch him clean, it's going to be really hard to knock him out. Like, look at the head size difference of De La Hoya and Gotti. Look at that, dude. His chin's down here, his head, top of his head's right here. And it's just like he has a wide head, like a big head. That's why he could take so many punches. Gotti took punches too, but the head size difference is pretty obvious. That's kind of, for me, a mark of a good chin is if someone has a big head. Not always, but usually if they have a big head, it's really hard to knock them out with a head punch. Ooh, that was nice. That was one of his best combinations in the fight. We saw him do that, catch the right hand on the right hand, flip over that right hand to the right side, block that left hook, or go under. There's that defense. So let me know what you guys think. Do you like this type of this version of De La Hoya, or do you like when he was hands out, more still but more kind of not robotic but a little bit more stiff? Or do you like him being a little bit loose, moving his head and dropping the hand? Nice left hook right there. Ooh, that left hook did damage right there. You could see at the end of this round, Gotti's gonna be hurt. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Oscar De La Hoya should have, or does Oscar De La Hoya look better this way, or look better? See how he's moving that shoulder, or does he look better with his usual fighting style? I think after this fight he went with not after this fight. I'm not sure when, but he went with Freddie Roach. I can't say I've watched too many fights where Oscar was under Floyd Sr. I'm not sure how long they worked together. I don't want to say numbers and be wrong, but I know this is the first fight where he fought under Floyd Sr. There's that right hook to the body. There's that combination. Now you could see Gotti's face right here. He looks hurt. He looks hurt. But a warrior. R.I.P. I think that's Oscar's brother or something. Staying sharp, moving. Keeps on moving. I think the fight stops in this round. Nice right hand right there. It's just he's taking too much of a beating, Arturo Gatti. See, he's dropping those hands, moving those shoulders, looking a little bit, oh, moving that head, looking a little bit more, you know. Nice counter hook right there. Oscar De La Hoya was very good at that. I might do Oscar versus Floyd Mayweather after this fight, next week's breakdown. Even though if I might get copyrighted, I don't care. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Too much. The towel comes in right here. And that's it. So last week I did Muhammad Ali versus Ernie Terrell, but that fight a lot of people have watched it, but not a lot of people watched where Ali was dominating in that fight. So I wanted to focus on the beginning of that fight to the middle to see how Muhammad Ali kind of got into that stage where he was beating up Ernie Terrell, the taller fighter. So I kind of didn't want to do the second part because then it was just a beating from Muhammad Ali. Although he did throw the body shots, so I don't know. I might do it during this week. I might post it the second part. But I was watching this fight yesterday, and I was like, I want to do a study on this fight. So you see the difference if you watch Oscar De La Hoya before he trained with Mayweather. He's kind of looked like a praying mantis kind of. His left hand was half extended. His right hand was in front of his face. Not a lot of shoulder movement, more jabbing and using that left hand a lot more, stepping back and countering. That was kind of him then. Then he took time off, trained with Mayweather Sr., and this is what he did. A lot more right hands. He dropped his hands. He looked confident. He didn't look completely sharp yet in the shoulder roll defense. He had some ticks and things that he could have, they just improved with fighting. But yeah, not completely clean, but enough to stop Gatti in the 5th round. So there you have it. That is the fight study for today. I'll be dropping this fight today. I got some new gloves from Joe's Boxing NYC that I'm gonna do a review on. I might drop those tomorrow, so stay on the lookout for that, or drop it on Monday. Then we have lesson number 16 on Wednesday dropping. And that's it. Next week, I think I want to do Floyd Jr. versus Oscar De La Hoya. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I appreciate you guys and girls, whoever's watching, young or old. I don't know. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.